Now, we understand that you probably grieving the old norm of things we can't do because the government has enacted various things to supposedly keep us safe. And I'm one of the ones who believe that science and medicine are those things that are given by God that we should follow in this situation to not only safeguard ourselves, but those around us that we love. And we understand that this new laws and rules that they've put into effect, it's going to really mess up the way things have the plans that we've made. You know, graduations are going to be messed up. We got family picnics, family gatherings. In fact, our very own BOL family retreat has been set aside because of this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Overwhelming, yes, we understand that very much so. However, I want you to know that there's still hope. As long as
Yes.
Christ is in rule of this place, we know that there's hope. And if you would just take a moment to think about Hebrews 10:23, it tells us, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. For he who promised is faithful. That's enough to feast off of right there.
Yes. So we have to embrace this new norm, they're saying, and you just have to make your new traditions to adapt to the new norm. And that's easy to do. And I know that's me saying it's easy, but I know a lot of you have kids and you're struggling, you're stressing. But today we have to realize we have to come up with new stuff to do. Take time out. Let your kid decide what they're going to eat for dinner. Make new traditions. Eat dinner on have a blanket on the floor, have an indoor picnic, and just talk. Unplug. Because I know I'm virtually tired most of the time because there's so much going on right now. And it's like normally when we're at work, we're like, oh, I should have called out today. But now I'm home, I want to go to work. So in this kind of we're like we're getting what we asking for, but now we're like we feel like we punished because we did something, but we didn't. But now we have this new norm. We got to wear masks, social distancing. So Johnny, he kind of but it's okay. We are right. So it's like we have to adapt to this new norm. The pastor talked on all of our topics that we wanted to talk about today. So go ahead, John.
My wife used to unplug, but sometimes it is still going to be necessary that we do plug in and stay connected. We can't see personally. We can't go by and see our grandkids like we normally do. Just about every weekend, there was a grandkid that we had here at the house, and we kind of got used to that. We can't now, but Zoom, Duo,
Yes.
house party, hangout.
Yes.
Don't let these new ways of staying in communication just go to waste. If you got them, use them.
Use them.
Use
Use
them.
them.
It really, really helps. It keeps me from crying because I would like to see my grandkids on a regular basis, but I can't. But these virtual tools really do help us out a lot.
We were attending. I have a Bible challenge for you guys. In one of Tiffany Claiborne's Sabbath school classes 2 Sabbaths ago, she challenged us to read one chapter and then post what that chapter meant to you. And I posted one time, and it was just so much going on. So now I keep it in a journal. So my challenge to each family, read a chapter a day and discuss it because you realize you get closer. And this is what we need to be diving in right now is this Holy Bible. At this time, what we're going through, God has got to be our focus. He has to be our focus. So take time out. I mean, you can also do the fellowshipping still. Get your church directory out. We know everybody sits on different sides of the church. How about you looking at directory, pick a person you never talked to while you in church. Call them up, see how they're doing. And also challenge them with the Bible challenge. Read the same chapter and discuss it. You'll be surprised how many people read the same chapter but have different meanings that came out that chapter. And that's a way of fellowshipping with each other. We don't have to be with each other physically, but you can still fellowship. We've got to keep that going. Connect. Get out there and connect with people. And I know it's just couples. It's so hard. With us, we're empty nesters. So sometimes I have to send him to his room. I'm like, dude, too close, all the time. But it's okay. But it's like we have fun with each other. But I know when you have kids, after they go to bed, save your dessert. Take it into your bedroom, put a blanket on the floor, eat your dessert and just have some downtime. Stop it. Have some downtime and enjoy each other. Talk. Watch your favorite movie, read a book, but communicate. But right now, we're going to go ahead on and just so we can have time for your questions, come on, bring them in. But we have some to start. So go ahead, honey.
Okay. Look, there is a chat feature that should be associated with this. So as Holly, Jade, and Sherry prepare, we'll ask that you start getting your questions ready, put them through chat, and we will we'll throw those out there so that you can try to get some answers. Be advised, we are not here to give you answers for everything, but what we cannot answer for you, guaranteed, Family Life team and other ministries are definitely going to do their absolute best to ensure that we get your questions answered.
Reach out.
That's another, if you need something, reach out. This is like God's miracle worker right here when it comes to getting things done that are needed. We have a great team that supports and backs the church. So whatever you need, if we can make it happen, we will make it happen. So
we'll find it.
Let's do that. Holly, we're going to start off with you. What are some of the challenges you are facing as a teacher while balancing having a little one in your house?
Yeah, so one of the major challenges as a teacher just in general is when I'm not able to get in contact with certain families. So there's a disconnect, and despite what's going on, I want to be able to speak to my kids, sometimes be able to see them via FaceTime, Zoom, whatever way I can. So that's one stressor in it, just not even being able to communicate and make sure that their learning process is still continuing despite the social distancing. Aside from that though, like I just have to pick and choose wisely what times I'm making those calls, what times I'm making those videos. And fortunately, I've been able to include Micah in it sometimes, but then there are meetings and things like that I have to strategically plan. But I will say that my support system is just awesome. So there are times when I can just send Micah upstairs to my mom or, to my sister, because we're all staying together through this. So, I mean, it's challenging to balance it all out, but thankfully I have help. So that makes it a little bit easier.
That's excellent. And for those who don't know, Micah is Holly's 18-month-old son, who's one of my buddies in Pathfinders, believe it or not.
He loves him.
Okay, what would be some of the ramifications, though, for those students who are not being able to be contacted? Are they going to be held back for next year? Is testing going to be allowed for them, later on in the season? Just what's going to happen with those kind of kids?
Yeah, so the next step, before we even start to consider those things, we have meetings with our principal weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, 3 times a week. But we have a monitoring system to keep track of who we've actually spoken to verbally, what parents we have and have not communicated with. So the next step would be our principal reaching out and finding a way to contact them. And I don't have an answer for you yet as far as like how next year is going to look. I know I just got an email from our CEO yesterday, and I work in DC at a DC charter school, just so you guys know. My situation might vary from Maryland or Virginia schools, but what I was told is that there's a possibility that the school year would end May 29th, which is relatively early. We usually close like between June 12th and June 17th. And then we would end up starting next school year earlier than in the prior years. I really don't, we can't hold parents completely accountable because a lot of them don't have access to computers yet. And that's something that we're working on as well. But aside from that, I mean, we just have to work with the child from where they are, like we've always done. A lot of children start off the year behind. And so as teachers, that's when we do strategic planning. We have small groups to get students to where they need to be. So really the bonus, which would be wonderful, is if parents would continue to stretch their children at home and really just keep them on track, because it's more stress on the child when they come in and they're behind. And that's when we see behaviors, and the child just struggles from there on out if they're not helped to catch up.
I'm gonna ask this final question, Holly. Do you love your job?
I do. I love my job. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is stressful sometimes. It really is. But I love being able to connect with my kids. they're very lovable children. And for the most part, they want structure and they want to do the very best that they can do. Even the parents, just connecting with them and having conversations and just being able to see their faces, their smiles, and celebrate together. For me to have a role in their lives, I still remember my kindergarten teacher going to the treasure bin every Friday. So I just want this, despite all that has happened, I hope that they're holding on to what we did before. And okay. I hope that we're still able to make it fun for them throughout the duration of this quarantine.
When Mariah, your daughter, does not want to go to sleep at night, you got any advice for parents? And don't tell them giving the baby Benadryl either.
I don't know. You can play some kind of soft music. She likes to go to sleep to watching Story Keepers, so we play Story Keepers sometimes at night. So just find what they like.
Something books too.
Yeah, she
Spoken from a teacher.
There you go.
Excellent.
But how are you adjusting at home, teleworking and doing the homeschool? Is there a schedule that you have implemented or?
Yes, definitely. So she has, with her school schedule, she has 3 hours of mandatory instruction a day. So I make sure I start my work before I get up and do what I need to do before she even gets up. And then once her 9 o'clock starts, I'm doing my work. And so she's not really a distraction to me, and I don't want to distract her. So she has her set schedule and I have my set schedule. Once she's done, we'll take lunch. And then, she does her little stuff, her free time afterwards. And then she'll get back in her work, do her afternoon work, do her homework, and then we submit that at the end of the night.
Okay.
But we have to stick to a schedule.
Yes.
Jade. Hi.
Hi.
You are a senior this year.
Yes.
You have put in probably about 15 years of school, waiting for the opportunity to walk across the stage, grab up a diploma, wave it in the air and shout and all that good stuff. And now all of a sudden with these new policies put into effect, it seems like this is not going to happen. Can you kind of give us some, tell us how you feel about that?
It's disappointing and it's frustrating. It kind of makes the rest of the schoolwork that I have to do now kind of harder to do because, what am I working for? But the thing that's been helping me is I was looking forward to a graduation and all those things, but what I was really working for was the next level. So being able to put my focus in
there you go.
my schooling for college and what I really want to do in the grand scheme of my entire life, just kind of focusing on that has been able to push me and help me through the lack of motivation for school now.
Well, we're going to try to get a team together. So I know we have a couple other seniors in the church to try to figure out how to give you guys that graduation. It might be virtually, but we might be wearing masks someplace in the building, this social distancing, but we're going to need to work something out because it's unfair to you guys. You guys work so hard.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on that. That's on my list. And I see that's one of the questions that they have here. So let's see. Holly, will students actually be held back if they can't keep up with the new normal and fall behind?
So I feel like that's the question that we touched on prior, but
yeah.
I mean, the answer to that for me, as far as I know right now, the answer is no. I know that other schools might have different regulations, and that's more so based on the mayor and, that state, but we're not holding children to that. Like we can't fail them for something that they don't have access to.
No access, no control over. So yeah,
Right.
I understand that. Hey, Sheriff, a lot of parents are asking about resources that they can utilize to help them in their educating of their kids at home. Do you have any type of resource that in particular that you are using that would help another parent out?
We use IXL, we use Brain Pop, we use Cool Math, Spelling City. And also, if you go to the Allegheny East website,
Yes.
under youth ministries, they have a COVID-19 resource. So there are a wealth of information in there, spiritually as well as educationally for children.
Okay.
And it's in a newsletter, guys. Get on that e-blast. That link to the Allegheny East Youth Ministries is in the newsletter. Very helpful information.
Can I add into that as well?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Just please communicate with the teachers and the school. Sorry, Micah wants to say hi to everybody. And hi, Miss Tracy and Marissa. I saw your text messages. Please reach out to your schools, because I know as far as like Washington, D.C., a lot of schools are actually open to hand out meals for students, just because a lot of families rely on schools to be able to eat. And there are a lot of resources available. You just have to really look into them. And like I said, just reach out to your school and let them know what you need.
That's a great point. Thank you. Because I know a lot of kids really are depending on that school meal to get them through. Because it may be the only meal that they'll have for that day. So we appreciate you pointing that out. Here's a question. As far as those students who do not have laptops or iPads or whatever the gadget is, do any of you know of anything that's happening with the various school systems that are helping the kids out with that piece of equipment and possibly broadband internet that they may need to operate to get their work done?
Yes, sir. So it's actually been on the news a couple of times, different mayors speaking on it, just being able to get laptops out to families, and also hotspots to those who don't have any available. And I know personally at the school that I teach, they are currently trying to get to the bottom of what students have access to internet and laptops and which don't, so that we can actually mail them out to them.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's excellent. Okay.
Okay. All right. We had a question, but it's not to you, any of you all. How can we help other families who are in need of resources of financial support during this tough time? Whoever asked that question, hit me up afterwards. I have resources, and we put it in the email, the e-blast last week, but I do have the information for that. Okay. Any other questions? Jade, how are you balancing all of this? Do you have a work schedule, what time you get up in the morning? Because we know you. So you get up in the morning, how long you spend on doing schoolwork?
Well, I have a set schedule for school, mainly because we have set class times. Most of my classes are in the morning, so after I finish all my classes, I kind of just schedule out how I'm going to do it. Most of our teachers send us our work in the beginning of the week, and we kind of know what's due by the end. So I kind of just schedule how I want to plan it out. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but then I don't want to pressure myself to having to do things last minute. So I kind of just space it out.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess the only thing is for the parents, just be always take self-care. Take time for yourself.
Yes.
Whether it's reading a book, exercising, do whatever, just to make sure you have that personal time for yourself. And then also just remember that your child's education is important. So you need to be supportive in this situation. Although it may be pressure on you, you just have to be supportive.
Okay. Okay.
It says, what can I do to encourage my older child to stay home during this time?
That is a great question.
That is.
Wow.
Takers.
You know, honestly, just having a real conversation with them, having them look at the facts. This is how many people have died from this. This is how easy it can be. You know, like you can get sick. We just have to reinforce and just have patience and honestly pray about it. Have a conversation with God, ask God how we should approach that situation, because honestly, it can be stressful. And, you know, of course, people want freedom. Well, one major thing that I do want to say is just hear that child out. Help them to understand that like their feelings are acceptable. Regardless of anything else, their feelings are acceptable. We understand how you feel. However, this is the current situation. For your safety, because I love you and I care about you, I need you to love and care about yourself and others enough to stay at home, or, you know, at least go for a walk, but maintain social distancing. And if at the very least of anything, they should be wearing a mask if they're around other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Families, if there's something that's working for you, reach out to other families and give them help, assistance, because you never know who's in need right now. They're at their they're at the wit's end, they're overwhelmed, they're stressed. And a lot of times when you have kids at home and you're not used to that 24/7 with them around you and in your face, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, because I had 3 at the same time, and I remember those times when we all sit in the house on the weekends when he was gone deployed. I had to go to my bedroom. But it's like, help somebody, you know, and it's you know, reach out, because what works at your house may not work at another person's house, but you might have advice that can balance each other out. So just connect, get that fellowship going, pick up that doggone what is it called, the church directory. Pick that up and start going through it and calling people and just reach out to them. Well, we're going to wrap up. We want to thank our guests for being here. Thank you for your time, guys. Love you.
Remember, everybody, appreciate the teachers.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep looking ahead and pressing forward. Stay charged up in Jesus. And remember that He is our hope.
Thank you, Pastor Matlock, for that one.
Yes, definitely. Father, we thank you so much for the time that you've given us today, for the Sabbath, for the sermon. We thank you for the pastor as he has fed it to us, Lord. And we're just so grateful for who you are. And we thank you so much also, Lord, for these trying times. But nonetheless, we have this virtual communication device that allow us still to come together in you. We ask, Lord, that you just continue to bless us, continue to keep us charged up, and continue to keep us mindful that you are our hope. It is in the name of Christ that we do pray. Amen.